Welcome back to Diceroll Mediahouse, everyone. As per usual, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Bethesda Game Studios. When it comes to the Fallout TV show, the Fallout 3 and New Vegas remaster rumors, and of course the Elder Scrolls 6, which is in full development right now. A new interview just dropped with Kurt Kuhlmann. Now, Kurt was the co-lead game designer for Skyrim. Now, you might be asking why this is important. It's important because he left the company in 2023 after 2 decades of being a staple in game design for the Elder Scrolls. Apparently, he waited 11 years to be lead designer for the Elder Scrolls 6, only to get ghosted by Todd Howard. Kurt was known by many to be the lore master of the Elder Scrolls, coming up with some of the most important lore for the series. Is it over for the Elder Scrolls 6? Here's the full story behind this bombshell interview. Kurt decided to leave the company a few years ago. Recently, Kurt did a tell-all interview and released a lot of information that a lot of people hadn't heard. There's a lot of juicy details. I'm going to play a few segments from a video by Epic Nate that covers what I have to say pretty nicely about the issue. This is really interesting, guys. Listen to what Kurt has to say about his time at Bethesda Game Studios.
2 days ago, at the time of working on this video, Samuel Horty, a freelance journalist, published a brief feature interview with Kurt Kuhlmann, a former writer, programmer, and designer at Bethesda Game Studios, who had been with the company for almost as long as Todd and served as one of Skyrim's co-lead designers before ultimately resigning from the company just a week or so after Starfield's release in late 2023. He joined back in 1996, almost 30 years ago, where he was a junior designer on the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall. Kuhlmann states Todd Howard had promised him that he would be the lead designer for the Elder Scrolls 6. A huge position. It would essentially make him the game's number 2 guy, second only to Todd himself, who's increasingly busy with other stuff and would likely be somewhat deferential. Not only that, but Kuhlmann suggests that work on the Elder Scrolls 6 was supposed to begin in earnest, at least as far as he originally believed, immediately following Fallout 4's release. But for whatever reason, the company decided to pivot, first to development on Fallout 76, and then later Starfield. Kuhlmann had waited around for this promised role for all this time, tolerating detour after detour, and by the time the company was finally ready to start work on the next Elder Scrolls, he claims that Todd did not keep his promise, and he was asked to accept a different position. Quote, Kuhlmann states that after Skyrim, Howard verbally promised him the lead design role on the Elder Scrolls 6, which was supposed to be the next project after Fallout 4. Now we're quoting him verbatim. Of course, after Fallout 4, we didn't go to TES 6. We made Fallout 76. And then, even then, we didn't make TES 6. We made Starfield, which had become this extremely long project compared to the other ones. So, from my point of view, I've been waiting like 11 years to be the lead on TES 6, he says. And they made the decision, no, you're not going to be the lead. One of the founding fathers of the Elder Scrolls franchise, perhaps the person most involved in the universe's lore and cosmology, at least by this point, is essentially describing an enormous rug pull and something of a betrayal. He doesn't explicitly say it, but this seems to be why he resigned from the company after Starfield.
Now, I don't know about you, but that's a lot of very interesting information that I had no idea about. Kurt also goes on to say a lot about the Elder Scrolls 6 and its state of development at his time of departure.
Remember how back in 2018, when Bethesda announced Fallout 76, they also had that really short video essentially promising that they were working on the Elder Scrolls 6 and it was coming. Well, Kuhlmann's interview pretty conclusively suggests that the game didn't even have a lead designer or likely any major staff members picked out, let alone working on it, until around the time he resigns in 2023.
I'll be honest, guys, when it comes to Kurt leaving, I don't really blame him. Looking forward to something so spectacular and such a huge opportunity as being able to be the lead game designer on the Elder Scrolls 6, that's something that one would wait in a career for the opportunity to be able to do. Having that pulled out from under you, I totally understand why somebody would get mad and leave a company. That being said, when it comes to the creative forces that drive things like video game creation, as a filmmaker, I personally know that things can change on the fly and that pieces of the puzzles move frequently. Creating art is almost always a fluid act. Things don't stay in the same place and they evolve as you go. I get that. Sometimes certain people who may have been great for something 9 months ago might not be the right person for the job now, and we really don't know why Todd decided to go another direction. The truth is, he could have had his reasons, and Nobody really knows, but of course it's our place to judge because that's what we do best. What I do know is that when something as big as being the co-lead designer of The Elder Scrolls 6 falls through the cracks, that would definitely make me jump out and want to do an interview with somebody, I'll tell you that. Having the rug pulled out from under you like that by Todd Howard himself, being demoted by the Todd father, let's be honest, that's gotta hurt. So how does this affect things going forward with The Elder Scrolls as a franchise? Well, I think honestly it might affect it. Everyone knows that Todd Howard is the driving force behind Bethesda. He has been for decades. Todd Howard knows that The Elder Scrolls 6 has to hit harder than anything they've ever created, even Skyrim, in order to please both the fans and his Microsoft overlords. Kurt's absence will definitely be felt, but thankfully we have many years worth of his creativity embedded into the franchise already that we can draw from. But I'm interested in what you guys think. Do you think Kurt was justified in leaving after 11 years and not getting the job? Do you think that he was acting unreasonable, or would you have done the same? Let me know in the comments below. But as for me guys, that's all I have today. I want to thank you guys so much for sticking around this far. If you're still here, do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps if you like my content, and I'll see you guys right here next time on Diceroll Mediahouse.